Hey everyone, Jacob Slade from SteamFirst.com back again. Today I will be giving my first impressions on Wasteland 2, the game that raised nearly $3 million on Kickstarter, promising an awesome open world RPG just like the original Wasteland and the old Fallout games. Now the question is, does it live up to the hype? Well, I've played the first couple hours of the game. It's currently in beta, and to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed. Here's why. As a huge fan of the Fallout series, I had very high expectations for Wasteland 2, but upon playing a few hours of the beta, I was indeed very disappointed. I managed to narrow down my thoughts of the beta into 6 different things, 3 good things and 3 bad things. I'm actually going to start with the bad things about Wasteland 2 and save the good things for afterwards. First thing that's bad is the graphics. Now you may be saying, oh, the graphics don't look that bad. Well, this is running at max settings, and this is a game that again raised nearly $3 million and has been highly anticipated for over a year. I expect better graphics than this. Also, it's 2014. Come on, just give me really nice looking graphics already. I do not appreciate it when developers don't put enough time into graphics. And it's not that the style is bad. The artistic style of the graphics is actually quite good. I really like it. I'm always into the post-apocalyptic style of imagery that is in these kind of games. But just the straight up technical graphics, such as the smooth edges of surfaces and stuff, it's not there. The edges are not smooth at all. There's screen tearing. There's all this different stuff that just makes the game look pretty darn ugly and also very, very dated. It looks like a game from 2005. Another thing that's bad with the game is the bad HUD. For those of you who don't know what a HUD is, it's basically the graphics on screen that show you different things, like the mini-map and the radar, whatever. Almost every game has a HUD. This one is very poor. It's very small, the font is small, the icons are small, and I couldn't find an option to make it larger. Also, it just wasn't very straightforward. It was not very streamlined. It was very difficult to tell what was going on. If you moused over an item, it wouldn't actually tell you what the item does half the time. It was inventory management was very convoluted. Using items was hard to do. Everything about it was just very confusing, very time-consuming when it shouldn't have been. So the HUD and the interaction with items and things like that was terrible. I hated it. And lastly, and most importantly, what I did not like about the game is that it is confusing and unforgiving. There is no tutorial in this game, and I understand sometimes developers want to make their games very difficult. But I always say, and I've said this in many of my reviews, if you go check out my channel, The Syrup Company, link to that will be in the description, by the way. Many of my reviews, I have said this phrase, hard for the sake of being hard. Some developers like to have very challenging games, and that's fine as long as there's a reason for them to be challenging, or you feel accomplished once you beat a really hard boss or something like that. Wasteland 2, you feel no accomplishment, you just feel frustration when you spend 20-30 minutes just hoping to hit somebody with your bullet when it keeps saying 50% accuracy even when you're right next to the enemy. It's very unforgiving. When a teammate dies, if you don't revive him, he's dead forever. And it does not tell you how to revive him. The lack of tutorial really hurts this game. I don't even know if you can get items in the early stage of the game that can revive people. I have no idea about anything. No idea about any way the game works, and I've spent a few hours in the game. Now, this is a first impression, so I haven't dug super deep into it, which I will do for my review when the game is out of beta, by the way. But based on my first impressions, the game is extremely confusing, extremely unforgiving, and it makes the game very frustrating, and frankly, the gameplay just isn't that good. And gameplay, to me, is the most important aspect of any game. If the game's not fun, we have a serious problem. It doesn't matter how good the story is, it doesn't matter how good the graphics or sound is. If the game's not fun, that is a major problem. Now, there are good things about Wasteland 2, though. Don't get me wrong. There are 3 good things about Wasteland 2 that I narrowed it down to, as I said earlier. The first good thing is the open world. The world design is very, very good. There's tons of different paths. There's tons of different spots or areas you can loot. There's many secrets. There's a lot of different varieties of enemies and loot. And just the world in general looks good. It fits the post-apocalyptic nature of the game. There's tons of exploration to be done. And there's lots of different things you can do to interact with the world as well, such as lockpicking, and toaster repair was one of my favorites. Lots of different things that you can do with the world, and it's just heavy emphasis on exploration, which is very good. That's exactly what I was looking for in a game that is essentially the successor to the older Fallout games. The character customization is also very good. Again, this is something I was hoping for in a successor to the older Fallout games. Well, it did not disappoint. There's tons of different skills. There's tons of different abilities, lots and lots of things you can invest into for your character, lots of different traits. You can also customize your appearance of your character. Now, the customization screen wasn't fantastic. In fact, nearly all of the options for hair, clothing, etc. I didn't like at all, and I don't see how anyone could. They were just flat out ugly and looked like sloppy designs, and there was nothing creative with hair, which was unfortunate. There was one creative hairstyle, which was this big Native American hairstyle. Other than that, there was no afro, there was no mohawk. These are the kind of things I look for in these kind of character customization, open world type games, especially Fallout 3 had a ton of character customization. It was a little disappointing that the character customization wasn't as fleshed out as it could have been. However, that being said, I still thought it was very good. And lastly, good story and characters. And again, I'm saying it for the third time, this is exactly what I was hoping for when it comes to a successor to the older Fallout games, or to the newer ones, because the newer Fallout games have great story and characters too. The voice acting, everything is voice acted pretty much. There are some dialogue lines that are lesser importance and aren't voice acted, but for the most part, all the main storyline type stuff is voice acted, and the voice acting is pretty darn good. It's not the quality of a AAA game, but it's definitely decent. It's not gonna annoy you by any means. And also the characters are quite likable, and there's tons of different dialogue trees to go on with characters. There's lots of different skills in the game that can actually affect how you can talk to these characters, so I really like that as well. And the story fleshed out around the characters quite well. So, just to review, bad graphics, bad gameplay, and a bad HUD, but they kind of made up for that with a good open world, good character customization, and a good story and characters. Is Wasteland 2 a terrible game? Absolutely not. Is it a good game? No. It's a very disappointing game. It does not live up to the hype yet. It is in beta. This is only first impressions. I have not played through the whole game. That's what you have to keep in mind. In a month or 2 months, or whenever this game is out of beta and in full release, I will do my full review of the game, and I might like it more. I hope I will. I hope they fix a lot of things during this beta period. But for now, I'm not blown away with Wasteland 2. In fact, I'm not really having any fun with it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. A link to my channel is in the description.